I knew that it was God talking to me, you know what I'm saying? Because of the way it made me feel emotionally. I broke down, started crying all over the place in the car, and I'm sorry. I was thinking about trying to do this to somebody, because it was really in my heart to kill him.
So Rolling Stone just dropped a bombshell investigative report that sheds new light on the tragic story of Craig Mack, the first artist who ever dared to walk away from Bad Boy. And just when we thought we'd heard it all, 50 Cent, who's been working on that highly anticipated documentary about Diddy, has spilled even more tea, revealing shocking new details about how Craig Mack's life took a terrifying nosedive after crossing paths with Diddy. First, it was the nightmare of working under Diddy's thumb at Bad Boy, and when Craig finally managed to escape, he ended up falling into the clutches of a doomsday cult that preyed on his trauma. And just when you think it can't get any darker, there's more to this creepy story. See, Craig isn't the only Bad Boy artist who turned to religion after their run-ins with Diddy. From Mace to Shine and Loon, all these Bad Boy artists had to cleanse their souls after dealing with Diddy. As for Craig Mack, before his heart gave out at just 47 years old, he was so deeply scarred by his time with Diddy that he actually came this close to pulling the trigger and ending Diddy's life. So what really happened to Craig Mack? Let's delve in and find out how his experience at Bad Boy drove him to the brink of suicide, as well as what information 50 Cent and Rolling Stone uncovered about Craig's tragic passing.
You know what I'm saying? To everybody over there, at the Bad Boy family, you know what I'm saying? God bless y'all, you know what I'm saying, and everything else. And my soul and my heart is with y'all, you know what I'm saying?
Now, did you foresee a lot of times?
Yeah. I mean, did I want it to be my man Big? No. Did I want it to be Pop? No. But did I see it? Yeah, I saw it. You know what I'm saying? And I saw it because I saw the way it was headed.
Craig Mack's terrible life. In a 1995 interview with the New York Times, Craig Jameson Mack, better known by his stage name MSEs, revealed that his cousins were the ones who first introduced him to rap at the age of 9. By the time he was 12, he was writing his own lyrics. "I knew I wanted to be like LL Cool J and Run DMC," he said, reflecting on his early inspirations. Growing up on Long Island, though, allowed Craig to meet some industry veterans, including Alvin Toney, and that relationship was vital to Craig's journey, leading him to both the peak and the struggles of his career. It was Alvin Toney who set up a meeting for Craig to rap in front of Sean Diddy Combs, and Diddy was so impressed that he immediately offered Craig a record deal with his newly launched label Bad Boy Records. In fact, Craig became the very first rapper to drop music under The Villainous Young Man. The remix of Banner's 19-94 smash single Flavor in Your Ear went viral, becoming the breakthrough success for the renowned B and one of Busta Rhymes' first solo moments. It also topped the charts and even peaked at #1 on Billboard's US Hot Rap Songs list. After his first album, Craig was the talk of the business, with everyone falling in love with him and anxiously anticipating his next release. He was practically on fire. In a 1994 interview with Yo MTV Raps, Diddy even made a big deal out of announcing he was already working with Craig on a second album, which was set to be released in January 1995. But here's the enormous deal. All that talk, nevertheless, the record was never released.
And I want to congratulate Craig Mack on his Grammy nomination.
No question.
Yes, baby, yeah. Cool, that's cool, and I'm sure you got much things in store for my man.
Yeah, definitely. We got a new album we're working on him to drop in January. Besides that, we're about to just drop our R&B stuff.
The Puff Daddy album.
However, did you notice how perplexed Craig appeared when Diddy boldly declared that they were working on his second album? That's because the reality at Bad Boy was a completely different story, and years later Craig spilled the beans in an interview about what really went down with that album I Got With Somebody. I'm not going to name them, I'm just going to say somebody that wanted to do another album with me. I said, cool, I go. I gave him my price, and the price was low to me, you know, and it was supposed to give me the money. After I started banging out in the studio, he approached me and said, "You know what, man, I want to do these songs. You know what I'm saying, if you're going to do this on the 3rd, let's do it. You give me the money as we go. You know you owe us an album." And I'm like, excuse my friends, but I owe you money. You know what I'm saying? So if you can come with the rest of the D, then we can come up with the rest of the album, no D. But nothing happened, no money, so I stopped recording and said, I'm not going to be, an idiot and sit here and do all this stuff for everybody, and then I'm not going to see anything from it. The next thing I know, money comes not in the records. That's it, man. I don't believe you understand what you mean when you say that. Craig said that Diddy had threatened him directly. However, Craig wasn't going to back down. In fact, he was prepared to hold his position, and had even considered taking Diddy out. I'm saying, You know what type of dude I am. You know what kind of muscle I got. You know what I'm saying? Right now you need to be in the studio. So I said, all right, meet me up there at 7. And I went and got one of my gunmen. My man. I'm not going to men his name. Even he came with me up there at 7. And I proceeded to get one of my gunmen, my guy, I won't use his name even though he accompanied me up there. When they saw him, they panicked because they thought they would harm me, but they didn't. So we discussed how, came deaf and look, no cash, no record. I'm not going to be sitting here going in the studio all night, every night busting my ass, and I ain't seeing anything from it, and you're making me feel like even if you did have the rest of that cash, US taking it to the next level, it's going to be a problem because it's going to be money problems. I can see it already. So I caught a couple of threats. A couple of passes by in the street and everything else. I caught a couple of threats, and I was sitting there, going to pick up my sister from work. I'm in her car, I'm driving her car to go pick up from work. I just was sitting in the chair and I was like, God, I'm so tired of everything that's going on. I was in my sister, I call my sister, cause we've known each other for so long, you know what I'm saying? It's like brother and sister, but I was in my sister's car and I had a gun in my lap and I'm sitting there, I'm talking to God. I'm like, Lord, I don't want to do this, but if it comes to getting ugly where somebody's going to be trying to kill me, I'm going to have to do something first or do something to prevent that from happening. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I'm frustrated. I really need your advice and your love right now. And I started flipping around the radio station, 660 AM or FM 1 stations where the Supreme Team used to be on early in the morning. The dude from Al Hampstead would have that joints blasting, So I was looking for that, and when I turned the station, all this gospel music came on, and it was this song I've never heard before in my life ever, but I knew that it was God talking to me, you know what I'm saying? Because of the way it made me feel emotionally, I broke down, started crying all over the place in the car, and I'm sorry. I was thinking about trying to do this to somebody because it was really in my heart to kill him, you know what I'm saying? I was going to do it, but I knew in my conscience also that that's not the right thing you're supposed to be doing. Now, Craig did release a second album in 1997, but it wasn't as successful as his debut. None of the songs charted, and he was unable to repeat his early popularity. After appearing in the music video for Diddy's hit song I Need a Girl Part 1 in 2002, there were rumors that Craig was working on his third studio album and would release it in 2007. He also teased fans with the song McKinnite in 2006, but after that, he largely vanished from the hip-hop scene until 2012, when a startling video emerged on YouTube, revealing that he had joined a cult called Overcomer Ministry in Walterboro, South Carolina.
Craig Mack here, huh? What do you call yourself?
Child of God.
No. That ain't what you said that when you started out.
Incredible Mac.
Incredible Mack.
Now, Overcomer Ministry wasn't your typical church setting, rather, it was a remote Christian commune of about 70 people who lived in mobile trailers, worked the farm, and prepared for Jesus' second coming. But it gets even more sinister than that. In December 2017, Ralph Gordon, the organization's leader, the elderly man you just saw hugging Craig in the video, turned out to be anything but holy. He was arrested on a long list of charges, including some heinous crimes involving young members of his cult. Sadly, Stair passed away before he could be prosecuted, but despite all of that, Craig Mack chose to stay with Overcomer Ministry until his final days, even as his health deteriorated. So what pushed Craig Mack to join this cult? How did he go from being a rising star in the rap game to ending up as a broken man in a cult? Well, you won't be surprised to hear that Diddy plays a role in this story. There's a lot of disturbing, previously unheard information about Craig's tenure at Bad Boy Records in the investigative study that Rolling Stone just released. Here is the scoop from the article. According to the most recent investigative article by Rolling Stone, Craig and S.H. Knight were in fact discussing jumping ship to Death Row Records in the mid-1990s. The report goes on to reveal that things got worse for Craig at Bad Boy, that he tried to file for bankruptcy just to get out of his contract. His sophomore album Operation Get Down was stuck in limbo until 1997, and he was feeling the heat, but thanks to constant clashes with Diddy and some tough bankruptcy laws, Craig couldn't break free. That's when Sud Knight came into the picture, and the two reportedly started discussing the possibility of Mack joining Death Row. It seems that Craig was seriously considering joining Death Row, especially considering that his career was going through a rough patch, even though he had that massive hit Flavor in Your Ear, which was pretty much the anthem that put Bad Boy Records on the map. Rose Post Division on the East Coast. It appeared as though Craig was ready to make the switch to death row after Suge Knight flew him to Los Angeles and offered him a really sweet deal, a $200,000 advance and an incredible $11.25 million recording budget. However, when Bad Boy learned about these covert negotiations and intervened to give Craig the opportunity to even get out of his Bad Boy contract, things quickly became complicated. Craig was forced to withdraw his bankruptcy filing and agreed to give up a portion of his potential death row earnings. Just as Craig was about to make this big move, everything fell apart. Tupac's tragic death in September 1996 rocked the hip-hop industry. Plans for Craig's future on death row with Tupac gone went up in flames, placing him in an even more precarious scenario. Rolling Stone was informed by Craig's ex-wife Roxanne Alexis Hill Johnson that he was afraid Puff was furious, since Mack was going to leave Bad Boy and go with SH. From what I understand, Puff was furious. Roxanne added that Puff turned into a spiteful bastard and really stuck it to him for doing that. I do believe Puff was the catalyst because he set my family on fire and set everything in motion. But just when you thought things couldn't get any more tragic, and a shocking revelation about Craig's cause of death, Rolling Stone clarified that congestive heart disease was not his cause of death, as previously believed. On March 12, 2018, information of Craig's mysterious death surfaced. At first, it was said that Craig, who was just 47 years old, had died of heart failure. The sole well-known individual in attendance at the funeral, DJ Scratch, said that there was something odd about the day. Scratch subsequently shared a photo of Craig's obituary, along with a statement stating that the funeral was peculiar. The funeral was held at Craig's birthplace on Long Island, New York. I've never attended a celebrity's funeral, and I was the only well-known person there. It was a strange day today, but what makes me happy is that my little brother was, just before he died, at peace. Heard everything. Fans are raging with wild theories that Diddy might have had a hand in Craig's death, with some even suggesting that Diddy could have purposefully caused Craig's death. Rolling Stone drops a bombshell, claiming that Craig's death certificate showed the cause of his 1554 death was HIV/AIDS, and that Craig refused to seek treatment. We don't know when Craig received his diagnosis, but it's rumored he was aware of it before he joined the Overcomer cult.